What is up, internet? Welcome to the stream. How are y'all doing? It is episode 1 of Secret of Sarmanath. I am very excited, and we're short a player. So everyone, I don't know, we're gonna carry on with what we have. How have you been?
Everyone roast Millman on his social media.
Yeah. Tweet at him. I don't know. Give him a.
If you live in Australia and have his number, call him.
Mike is very concerned.
Millman for us.
Alrighty, so how have you four been? It's been like 2 weeks since we got together. What have you been up to?
I started the new semester. It's mostly pretty good. I have like 3 solid classes, 1 class where the jury's still kind of out, and 1 turbo shitty class. So, you know, I'll take it. Alright.
That sounds good. Classes are fun when you just start a new semester and you're trying to figure out what's going to be shitty and what's not going to be. That's I was one of my memories of college, just like, all right, is this class going to suck or not?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Luckily, it's become apparent very quickly with everything. They don't waste time in the computer science program.
They don't fuck around.
On the first day, you'll know if you're in one of the shitty ones.
Engineering, it always takes a day or 2, I think. Either that or you just assume every engineering class sucks. That's also possible.
That's a fair bet.
Yeah. What about the rest of you? What have you been up to? What's new with y'all?
Not much, just working a lot.
Living the dream.
Yeah, just working a lot.
I know
You
that
need an
feeling. I can
escape, man.
absolutely relate to that. It's like, so what have you been up to? And you're just going in your mind. You're just going through all the workouts. You're just like, can you just?
Other than working, I think I've gone to the gym in the last week.
Nice. All right. Gym and work, the American dream right there. Well, good thing you're playing some Dungeons and Dragons. We'll get you out of that routine.
The single man's American dream. Yeah.
Mike, what have you been up to?
I work, and I actually had Tuesday off of work because we were supposed to record the first episode of the new podcast that we're doing with Law from the D&D Memes Facebook page. He's the DM for that, but Law got strep throat.
Oh, well.
Tuesday morning, I'm like, waking up to get ready to go to that, and Law's like, hey, everyone, I am so sorry, but I have strep throat, and it's a really bad idea for you to all be locked in a recording studio with me right now. So we're going to have to bump that first recording session back. So I didn't do the other D&D thing that I was supposed to start this week. Instead, we're doing our first episode next Saturday, so I'm going straight from this game next week to that game.
You're going to have a busy-ass Saturday. I like it.
Yeah, well, and then Sunday, I've got my Warhammer 40K game with Dyson Logos, and then Monday, I've got an Orcs game.
Well,
so
you can almost rival Faye. Like,
it is a roleplay heavy weekend.
I think she still got you beat, but you're trying. Like, you're loading your plate up. All right.
Yeah, I was also asked for another game, which would be Thursday, so it would be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, we'll see.
That is awesome. That is a lot of D&D. That's like the dream right there. If I can work enough to like not have to work enough to just now D&D all the time, that would be my.
Just do evenings. Don't sleep.
Just don't sleep. I need my sleep, man. I turn into like an evil
Faye says
demon
at 9 p.m. as she's drinking her coffee for our American time.
This is tea, yo.
See, I routinely make coffee at 9 p.m., so I wasn't even thinking about that.
You know, it's like
it can't be coffee because Faye broke her French press. It must be tea.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, let us sally forth into the world of Seekers of Sarmanath. Y'all are down a party member, but that's going to be okay. Do you want to go around and introduce your characters a little bit now that they're in their finalized form, all crystalline, and describe them, or do you want to kind of bring that up as we play?
Who am I playing again? Hold on.
Oh, you're not giving me a lot of
Tom
confidence
is a cleric.
in Tom. Oh.
There are some who call you
cleric of bad memory. He's lost his memory and now he's looking for his way.
No, really, where's my character sheet?
You are Tom Lightbringer, my friend. Oh my goodness. Did you
I
put
can
it
see you in roll 20.
Oh no, that's right. Okay, never mind. I made it on roll 20. I was really scared because I was like, "Where's my character sheet PDF? I can't find it."
Starting like a champ over here. All right. We all know Tom Lightbringer, maybe not the most reliable man. Okay, it sounds like there's not a lot of excitement. Just jump in and start describing your characters. So we will start in play, and as you are introduced, I'll have you give a physical description, anything else that you feel like you need to do. So, we begin as we should in Sarmanath. The day is just starting, bright and early in the morning.
Ooh, looks like Millman's here.
Yep.
Is Millman here? Oh. Hey! Well,
I'm not
maybe
surprised.
he's frozen. We're getting a lot of t-shirts.
Hold up.
Oh, you're here.
I'm terribly sorry.
You survived. You lived.
I did. I lived.
Emily, we just learned Emily is a late sleeper. Like, we're starting the session and she's in her little hammock between Gormak's horns and
No,
out of
I
bed.
apologize. I had a test game with a bunch of new players last night.
All right. Well, you broke my cameras here, so I'm gonna have to
I'm
spend some
sorry.
time fixing that. Millman, why don't you tell us how you've been for the last couple of weeks while I do some camera checks here?
Extremely busy playing role-playing games. I am now a part of 6 campaigns online.
Wow.
Shit, I think he beat me.
I think he won.
I think he just comboed me and Faye together as many.
Yeah, and this one that I was just helping with last night is made up of 3 or 4 new players. They've never played Dungeons and Dragons before, so last night was their first ever time at 5e, and every time something came up, I had to break down the rules for everything for them.
I love playing with new players.
I loved it.
Yep. They're very bright-eyed. And
Yeah.
This one guy, his name's Giggity Goo. He's playing a
Giggity goo.
he is playing a dwarf barbarian. And
Very
he's
good first choice.
amazing. It was awesome. And he's like, I can throw javelins. I was like, yeah, dude, you got 4 of those bad boys. He was like, hell yeah. And he threw all of them in in the first time he found out you could use them. He threw all of them, and every single one killed something. And he was over the moon. He was like, all right, primary weapon.
I have made the right character choices.
It's only
He was
regret.
also the only tank, and he was only using ranged weapons, so everybody else was just dying around him while he was standing in the back throwing javelins. I've seen that happen.
Yeah.
No, I for this campaign that I'm in, just help teach them. I was like, I'll play a very simple class. I'll play a fighter champion. It'll be fine. And everybody was like, why does he keep trying to run in and kill people? And I was like, that's my job. Right? Get in the face of everything. It was hilarious.
That is awesome.
The monk is
All
like, I want to steal everything and just run away. And I was like, you really should be playing a rogue. But yes, no,
I
I
think
stayed
if
up
you're-
night teaching them, and I may have slid through an alarm or 2.
An alarm or
2.
2.
All
All
of
right.
them.
We noticed you said you would see us 4
At
hours
5:30.
ago. Yeah, it was 7:40 in the morning for us, and we're like, that was only 4 hours ago. Apparently, he's not getting a lot of sleep.
No, sleep is for the weak.
Cameras! Yo! I think
Hooray.
that worked. All right. Well, now that we've had a couple false starts, let's go ahead and get into this proper. So, it is early morning in Sarmanath, and everyone in the entire city is gathering in the courtyard across from the guild hall. There are banquet tables lined up everywhere with the preparations for a great feast that's coming. The entire town is aware that there are new members of the Seekers Guild that have passed their initial trials, and this is the feast that is starting it. The entire city comes out, right, and it's like it's a semi-national holiday for them. I am trying very hard to find my music because we're all right. Here we go. The 5 of you are with your groups. The different trials are spaced out via the different arcana, basically. So we have people who undertook the trial arcana. people who undertook the trial Natra, people who undertook the trial Marshall, people who took the trial Conviction, people who took the trial Shadows. And you are being presented today before Bran, the leader, essentially, of the Seekers of the Guild. He is the headmaster, and before you all, he comes up to kind of give a little speech. You know, he quiets the crowd down. The music begins to kind of play softly in the background. And he says, "It is my honor today to be allowed to introduce new members to our guild. I would ask that those who have passed the trial stand as their names are announced." And he kind of cedes the stage to a woman in just like long, flowing black robes, frail and thin. And she introduced herself as Harla, the master of the Trial Arcanum. And she says, "It is my great honor that today I can announce that a proudly named man, Janlar, has passed the Trial Arcana." And she bids you to rise. Awesome. All right, so when you get your mic working, go ahead and give us a description of your character. And you are bid to take the stage in front of Harla and next to Brand, the leader of the Seekers. The next to come forth is a giant of a man in flowing robes and a bald head with tribal tattoos. He introduces himself as Lion Stalker and says, "It is my honor to present Tom Lightbringer, who has passed the trial of conviction." He bids you to rise.
Thank you. Excuse me.
Perfect.
Coming through.
Yep.
So Tom, as you rise and come to the front of the stage here, why don't you give us a description of your character and what you're like?
Tom is 20-something, say 26 years old. Short black hair, a really, really ordinary face. I think he's one of those people that you wouldn't look twice at if you just kind of like passed him on the street. Yeah.
All right.
He's wearing mail armor, I believe.
Yes.
So he stands out a little bit there because he's pretty heavily armed and armored for an ordinary looking guy.
Okay.
He has a holy symbol of Bridges? How do you say it again? Bridges. Hanging from his neck.
Excellent. Perfect. You take your place next to Lion Stalker. Lion Stalker is a giant of a man, standing 7'7", with a deep dark skin. He just kind of lays his hands over your shoulders and says, "Thank you. It has been a long time since one has passed my trial."
Did you say 6'7"?
7'7".
Oh, okay. I'm like
he's
5'7".
He's not even truly a man. All right.
Okay.
He's
he's got like a good 2 feet on Tom.
Yeah. He definitely has giant blood in him, and it shows. He comes from the mountains themselves.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Janlar. Why don't you give a description of your character as you come stand next to Tom and behind Harla?
Perfect. Sorry about that mic cutting out. Again, Janlar is another nondescript looking 5'10" human. Wearing common clothes, short black hair, and he's middle-aged, but with a youthful look on his face.
Excellent.
Got giddy in his eye.
He's been beaten down by work and gym.
Yeah, no.
Excellent.
Happily,
So you take your space next to the bar, or next to the cleric, Tom, and Brand on stage. The next to present is Boral. He steps forth. He's a smaller man, almost looking like a midget compared to everyone else on stage. These tall, strong people with cropped wavy hair, and he looks for a moment and says, "It is a strange thing, but I have 2 that have passed the trial, but not individually, together." And he looks and he says, "It is my honor to say that Gormak along with his little flying friend Emily, have passed the trial marshal together, and he bids you to rise and take your space in front of the party. Why don't you give us a description of your characters as you come to the front of the stage?
All right, Millman, you want to go first or second?
All right. So, Emily's sitting on your shoulder. I am Emily, the very small, you could say dolly-sized pixie, in her orange attire. I believe I'm in light leather, so in like pixie-sized leather armor, and I get all like giddy and I stand up real straight on his shoulder. She's what is it? We worked it out. I was like 6 inches tall or 7 or something like that, and I weigh approximately the amount of 2.5 gold coins. She has like wavy blonde hair, and she's tiny in size, obviously, so it's all to match. She's a little frail pixie with her. It's funny because she dresses all in orange, but her wings are like hardcore bright blue, so like it stands out like crazy.
Excellent. Gormak, what do you look like as you approach the stage here?
Gormak is normally the tallest person in any given space. He's 7'1". His horns add a couple inches to that, like standing up over his head. They're canted forwards a bit, but so from tip of horn to bottom of hoof, Gormak is probably about 7'5", but the top of his head's 7'1". He's still dwarfed by that other guy.
Lion Stalker, the Goliath.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Gormak is a minotaur, so he's built like Shaquille O'Neal. And Emily is like hanging out on his shoulder. Tiny little fairy. Gormak's fur is a sort of deep gray bordering on black. He doesn't wear armor. Are we armed right now or no?
If you ceremoniously wish to arm yourself, no one will stop you.
Okay, so he's probably got his great axe strapped across his back, but most of his attire are just like carrying straps and things, because he carries all of his stuff and all of Emily's stuff, because Emily can't carry any of Emily's stuff. So he's like a pack mule and combatant.
All right. So as Gormak and Emily alight next to the very diminutive but stringy-looking Boral, Brand kind of cocks his eye at you, and his dwarvish accent kind of says, "How very unusual for you to pass together. I do not believe this has been done before, but I welcome it." And he turns his head towards another figure near the stage. This is known as Joppin. Joppin is a halfling, slightly bow-legged, with a bit of a haunch. His long, tangled brown hair, muted browns and greens in his clothes. And he stands there kind of serenely and says, "It's my honor to announce the newest addition to the Trial Natura, Rose. She passed with flying colors this year." And he bids you to rise and join the stage with them.
Yeah, I guess Rose rises up, and what you see is not a very tall figure. She's like 5'4", and like a kind of an oversized brown cloak is what she's wearing, right? So can't really see her limbs because her sleeves are really, really long. So she looks a little bit out of place, I guess, in all the armored people. If you were like, you can see her face under the hood though, and she has very humanoid features. Like she maybe a little bit elven-like, even like quite slender, but her skin tone is like brown grayish, right, which makes her like stand out a little bit. And if you can just see where her hair starts, like it seems to be green and yellow, right? Maybe a little bit of red in there. So yeah, that looks, she clearly looks a little bit a little bit different, and her eyes are also very, very green, with with golden little flecks on it. So she looks kind of exotic, but she's also, looking straight ahead at the floor, then looking at the stage, and then slowly moving forward.
Excellent. All right, you come to stand alongside Joppin, who just stands there serenely, almost oblivious at all times of where he's at. Finally, Brand cocks his head and looks towards a woman who is so undescript as it is the only way to describe her. Her defining feature is being average to the point that she looks at all times familiar but completely unremarkable. She inclines her head and says, "I am sorry, but it is my dishonor to say that no one has survived the Trial Umbra this year." And Dara slides back into the crowd, almost as easily forgotten as she was a moment ago. Brand looks across the crowd and smiles deeply, and he says, "Everyone, it is great honor that these 5 have cloaked themselves in, and it is in their honor that we feast today. I will remind them that the trials that they have passed will give them strength and the tools necessary to continue on and become seekers. However, one final test will meet all of you. Those who pass the initial trials of their chosen professions must prove that they can pass the trial of seekership. The 5 of you must face the arcane power of the rifts. But you are a member of our order now." And he reaches into a ceremonial chest beside him, and he pulls out a pouch for each of you. And he hands it out to you, each containing a bag of 100 silver coins. He says, "The price that you paid is returned, as is tradition." And he gets to you, Emily, and he kind of looks at you and looks at the bag. He kind of says, "Perhaps this will do instead." And he reaches into his finely braided beard and he pulls out a large, platinum shining coin decorated in the old style and hands it to you instead.
And I'm like, and I just kind of lean on it.
Perfect.
And I curtsy.
Next, he goes to each of you and hands you a golden pin, embossed with the eye open and enclosed in an arcane circle. He says, "Wearing this will mark you as a member of our order. You will be able to get all privileges and rights thus given. Those who see this will know you as seekers. Wear it if you must, or when needed." And he gives one out to each of you, including Emily this time. He looks at his pin and incants a little magical spell, and it shrinks down to the perfect size to pin onto whatever clothing you may decide to wear. He turns once again.
Big as she is, trying to pin on its little.
I just like to imagine being like, "I'm a seeker, don't you know?" And people have to lean in really close.
Let me just get my glasses. I can see that.
Cormac carries around a magnifying glass and just holds it up so you can see Emily's little pin there.
Excellent.
Yeah, respect me.
And with that done, he turns once again to face the crowd, claps his hands, and wheels and wheels of delicious food are brought out. Cheeses, wrapped fish, and olives and figs. There's vegetables that have been steamed and cooked, and they're laid out on these tables to an uproarious cheer from the crowd. And he says, "Now that the ceremony has done, please let us feast. Not all those who take the final task survive. This may be the final time you have the opportunity to feast together." And he bids you to sit at the table of honor with him and the masters of the trials, as you have proven yourselves worthy of sitting at the table at least once. And as such, food is brought out before all of you and served as the feast begins proper and the music swells.
When he brought out the bag of 100 silver coins, is that 20 a piece, or was that 100 to everyone?
100 silver coins is in each bag.
Okay.
Yes. So the 5 of you are sitting at this head table. You've met maybe before in the past, but this is the first time you've been formally introduced as a group. You know, how do you all interact? Do you just eat silently and enjoy this moment, or what is your actions here?
What? Being silent and eating food?
I think for the first few minutes, Tom like loads his plate up and enjoys the food. But after he's kind of gone through like his first serving, I think he turns to Brand. That was his name, right?
Yes, sir.
And he says, "So what does this final trial involve?"
Eager to get on your way, I see. Well, you must face the magic of the rifts. This is something that not all who pass the trials get to experience immediately. Fortunately, or perhaps in your case unfortunately, our diviners have already determined where your final test will take place. Do you wish to hear of all of it now? Perhaps.
Well, if the others are ready. I mean, I'm eager to get working.
Well, if that is so, there has been a number of disappearances that have been brought to the attention of the guild in a small town just outside, maybe a day's ride so away, called Willard's Mill. The Guild of Mercers is paying a quite feasible, substantial sum of money for the reclamation of Horsedog Mercer or his goods. He was meant to be gone only a month on his traveling mercering. However, upon arriving at his first destinations, there have been reports that he was there, but every town past Willard's Mill, there has been nothing. We believe that Horsedog Mercer has been caught up in these disappearances. We have used the divining pool to determine that indeed there is work of rift magic in Willard's Mill. And so, it is falling upon the 5 of you to work together to determine the source of whatever magic, whatever rift spawn is causing these disappearances, and further, returning Horsedog Mercer or his goods to the Mercers Guild will finish the contract. Bear in mind, this is not as simple a task as completing the trials. Though you have proved strong enough to survive where many others failed and died before you, rift magic is strange and different. Many a seeker has fallen in their final test. This is why we feast in your honor. And at that, Lionstalker kind of roars as he picks up a drumstick that's like dwarfed by his massive hand. He says, "Yes! A feast in anyone's honor!" He begins eating through it.
And in stark contrast to him, Gormak is over there eating like roasted vegetables and like,
Yeah, I was gonna say
salad.
Tom's like loading up on vegetables right now because he's trying to keep his energy up for the.
Yeah. Gormak's got like, you know, so roasted, like, I don't know, is there like roasted corn? He's probably like eating like the entire like just the whole cob and just chewing that like.
I'm sitting on the edge of the plate like, good boy, get all the food in.
Yeah. Emily has one olive that she's like working on like a chip like a
squirrel or a chipmunk.
like a gerbil or something, you know, with the way that they eat like the whole thing just kind of.
Absolutely. The rest of the trial, the rest of the trial masters look around at Gormak as you just chomp on this corn on the cob to various displays of emotion. Joppin and Harla seem just entirely horrified at you just eating through this massive corn on the cob in one bite. Yeah. However, Lionstalker and Boral are all for it. In fact, they begin trying it. Lionstalker easily just he's just going through. He gets bigger and bigger vegetables and fruits. Like he picks up a small melon and just starts eating it like an apple. Boral attempts to bite through a corn on the cob and just like can't get through it. He just looks around and all disappointed. He's like watching
when Gormak sees the guy eating the melon like an apple, he kind of looks around for a melon, picks one up, and just does this. This became a challenge.
Absolutely. Linestalker immediately picks up on the fact that this is a challenge and begins trying to put bigger and bigger things into his mouth. Like he's trying to eat things in one bite. He essentially takes a whole chicken and shoves it in his mouth, like cleaning the bones out as he goes.
Gormak doesn't do that.
Here at Seekers of Sarmanath, it took 20 minutes for us to go full anime.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey man, anime is great inspiration. All right. So as the feast continues and you have a chance to talk as you wish, eventually the people in the commons have a chance to come up and talk to you, and so many of them are just trainees and people that you worked with. Do any of you have a friend or an ally that has come to congratulate you?
My big friend's the only friend.
No.
I think.
I guess
Sorry.
Tom has a few people from the church kind of show up and congratulate him, but I don't think it's like that big of a deal. He's probably like he's polite and professional with them, but maybe a little bit distant.
Okay.
And just kind of like shakes hands, like thank you for your support.
They're robed in the flames of Burgess, bright red robes and a golden kind of flame on their chest. One of them, being the head of the temple, is appreciative of your efforts to improve yourself. He comes and clasps your hand and says, "It is great honor that one of our own has become a seeker. I am sure you will spread the light of Burgess far and wide. Please make sure to better yourself. We would love to hear of your own improvement. Do not forget where you came from." And he slides a holy symbol, like a beautifully emblazoned, probably a artifact of the church, in your hand. And he says, "This has guided many seekers before, and I am sure that it will guide you as well. Burgess is often available for those who listen and wish to speak to her."
I think Tom's a little bit taken aback by the sudden gift and says, "Thank you," and he accepts it and like immediately takes his symbol off and puts on the new one.
Right. So yes, you're adorned with that. The cardinal gives his supplications to the rest of the party as well. And he comes to each of you, grasps your hand, and says, "Good luck. The work the seekers do is important and valuable. Protects many that cannot protect themselves." Does anyone else have an ally or a friend that has come to visit them in the ceremony?
So has Algernon Eggleston come to the ceremony?
Yes, Algernon is there. Maybe he's a bit shy at the moment. He's a bookish type, but you do see him as the priests of Burgess leave. He stands kind of off to the side, trying to catch your eye.
Yeah. I see him, and I guess I say, excuse me," and Rose stands up. And if you look at her hand and what she's eating right now, you would realize that she's actually eating a piece of decoration. Like, when people carve like roses out of cabbages and stuff like that, you're not supposed to eat, but she's eating that right now.
You're eating all the garnish.
Yep. She's like eating the garnish, and she gets up and like quietly walks over to Algernon, I guess. And she says, "Algernon, I think I'm in the wrong ceremony."
He shakes his head. He says, "No, you've tried to become a seeker, and a seeker you've become. I do not travel forth as much, but I had a feast for myself once upon a time. I'm so proud that you've managed to do this. I must admit, I was worried for you. I did not know if you would pass."
They said we're supposed to find out something about somebody who went missing, and it has to do with rift magic, but I'm not a wizard.
No, but all seekers must brave the trials of the rift magic. You'll be tested by it in ways that the normal trials do not. Don't worry about understanding the magic. Seek what your heart tells you to. I'm sure you'll make it. Here. And he kind of unwraps a leather-bound tome and hands it to you. He says, I know you've been reading on etiquette, and I found this in a box. The library was giving it away. Yeah. And he says, I think perhaps it would serve you well. You would appreciate it.
Okay. Well, is it a book?
Yes. He unwraps the cloth that was covering it, and it's a leather-bound book, ancient and dusty, written who knows how long ago by a long-forgotten author, and it is the examples and the rules of etiquette.
Nice.
Yes, he hands it to you and just smiles.
Very good.
Well, I'm just so proud of you. I'm going to go back to the library. There's still much research to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
And he leaves.
I give a tiny bow with my head, I guess.
Perfect. Does anyone else have an ally that comes to see them, or are you all done?
I think at some point during the feast, Gormak is sitting there eating increasingly large vegetables, and he happens to glance up at one point, and like standing near the back of the hall is a contact of the crime lord that he owes money to.
Yes.
Who's just standing there, kind of leaning against the wall, arms crossed, just watching.
Yes.
Doesn't say anything. Doesn't make any acknowledgement. Actually, when Gormak like notices him, he just kind of like turns his head away like he wasn't watching, and like Gormak stands up as some people walk by, and after those people like walk by, the guy's not there anymore.
Exactly. Yes. You feel the lamplighter's eyes upon you.
Yeah.
Very obviously. Absolutely. All right. Janlar, at one point, your old teacher has made the trip to Sarmanath. The man that you apprenticed under for spells, and he just comes up and smiles so broadly at you and goes, "Oh, I can't believe that an apprentice of mine has become a seeker. That's just, it does the heart good, Janlar. My goodness. Tell me, was the trial difficult? I've never understood what the trials were like. I never braved them myself. So many die."
It was such an adventure. Was it hard? Some say it would be hard, but I found it to be quite easy.
Oh, I knew you would find it easy. You learn so quickly. Well, here, I know what's in your spellbook, and I know that sometimes you might want to spend your seeker money on something a little bit more exciting than spell components, so I brought some of these with you. And he opens up his cloak, and in a series of pouches, you see all of the doodads and knoblets and components and wires that you need for your spells, as he kind of slides them across the table to you. He goes, "As the least I could do for an apprentice of mine to make me so proud. Think of the people that I could get to help me in the shop, just saying that I have an apprentice who became a seeker." He like claps you on the shoulder really hard, and then goes around to kind of shake hands with everyone else. As the feast winds down the rest of the day, and the 5 trial members and Brand kind of stand and announce, "All right, everyone, the day of feasting has come to an end. Everyone has left work for far too long, I think," as he looks out across the party, or across the sea of partiers, not necessarily the 5 of you.
Gormak hears this as he's like midway through something and kind of is like, like kind of shoveling some stuff into a bag for later.
Excellent. He says, "These 5 must begin whatever preparations they need to depart, and we have stayed their hand far too long. Please try not to kill anyone on the way out. We don't want a repeat of what happened last year. And with that, he turns on a heel and walks back out of the courtyard up into the guild tower. As the people begin milling about, shouts and yells, and it's chaos when thousands and thousands of people begin leaving a courtyard all at once.
Is the conviction guy still around? The Lion Stalker?
Yes, all 5 of the trial members are still seated. Lion Stalker, in fact, is pulling a Gormak and also shoving his bags full, but instead of the vegetables, which he's leaving to Gormak, he's taking all the ducks and chickens and fish.
Yeah, but between the two of us, we're cleaning up.
They're cleaning out the table. But yes, he is there.
Tom will walk up at some point and say, "So what's the deal with this Umbra branch of the Seekers? Is it unusual for nobody to survive the trials?"
He looks at you and says, "To be perfectly honest, it is unnatural for any to pass the trials. We often have 1 or fewer every year. 5. 5 is a good number. There is power in a 5.
Maybe I was reading too much into it then. I thought it was strange that it was the only one to have nobody pass.
Dara is a strict mistress. She may be a little bit harder on her trial than others. I know that Joppin has a bit of a sweet spot for young up-and-comers, but all who pass the trials have earned it. But this is no common thing to have so many pass. It is a difficult and demanding thing to become a seeker."
I understand. Thank you.
Of course, of course. Bridges, interesting choice. You seem more of a man of my people. I feel like perhaps you would have been a tremendous follower of Feyam. You are critical and quick to think. These are skills that will help you immensely.
I appreciate your words. But I should probably go get some sleep. We have an early day tomorrow. All the talk of my skills will do us no good if we get ourselves killed on the road.
Sleep then.
Yeah, I think from there Tom retires.
All right. The 5 of you are free for the rest of the late afternoon and evening after the feast to do as you will. You can sleep it off and we'll just advance the story to the next day, or if you have anything that you want to do, maybe talk with any of each other or prepare yourself for the trials to come in some way, that is up to you.
I just have a few questions. So for Seekers, I assume it's like an actual like honorary position to be a Seeker, because everyone's talking like it is, but is it?
Yes.
I just want to make sure it's not like, oh, thank God we got rid of these people. We sent them to like the idiot school. And
No, it is the Seekers are widely known throughout the Midlands, and they are afforded certain privileges because of the protection that they give against beasts of the rifts.
Okay, and then for the game, I guess, are we tracking things like rations, or is that just kind of like a don't worry about it?
I would like you to track rations, yes, please.
Okay, I will start shopping then.
Excellent.
How many days of rations do I collect from the feast?
Please roll D20 rations.
Okay.
And while he's stuffing his bag, Emily's standing in front of him like, "Don't forget these. These are really good." And I'm like holding up his feet.
Perfect. So you collect far more than 4 rations, but you only manage to keep 4 rations. The rest of them seem to get eaten or go down. You know,
right.
Sometimes you need a midnight snack.
I'm grazing as I'm collecting.
Yeah,
so like,
yeah. So your bag
I'm only actually putting something in my bag if there's not something already in my mouth. Like
yes. Your bag is full to bursting with food, but you've been eating it, and so you have 4 left over.
I'm not super smart, so I'm collecting a bunch of like avocados and things that are not going to keep at all.
Right.
So but at the end of the day, I'm going to have all of this food that's like not really transportable, and I'll be like, oh, damn.
We can just eat that one. That one's okay.
Yeah. Emily's there like, oh, you probably shouldn't eat that. That's not good anymore. Don't go, Gormak. No. You're gonna be sick again.
Tom will meet up with the group at some point. Say we should probably start pooling some funds there. How does getting a cart sound? I'm gonna be honest. It's already getting a little bit heavy just with the armor on its own. Should we get something for transportation?
You see Janlar with his backpack clearly weighing him down. Backpack on. Yes, I believe we should get a cart with these new funds as well.
Excellent. Let me ask the DM really fast. What transportation?
Stuff, like looks down, looks up, goes, fine.
And I just like, I can't carry it.
Okay, so I'm looking at the book. We could get a cart for 15 GP.
You can definitely go into the market square. Much of the market is completely and utterly shut down for the feast, but there are a few shops that are open, and you shop around, and indeed, showing your seeker's pin opens some doors, and you find an old dragonborn who's just got deepest, like, furry beard, which surprises the hell out of you. You didn't know scales could grow a beard. But he kind of looks you up and down and says, "A card you want, yes? All right. How big?"
Something. He looks around at like our massive Minotaur companions. Says, I guess something for he'll probably be the one doing the primary pulling of the cart, I assume.
You wish to hitch it to him? Come here. I need to take some measurements.
Gormak kind of like stands there.
This dragonborn from beneath a waistcoat pulls out this long string. You can see it's been hash marked in strange ways, and he begins wrapping it around your like collarbone and your neck. And you're, yes, quite strong one. He gives you a little massage on your muscles, and he says, "I think that I can have just the thing. It is built for a larger animal, not so much a horse or a donkey. There's a nice ranch that makes aurochs available. I think I could hitch this one up to an auroch wagon." And he kind of runs back into the back of his shop and does a little measurement over there and comes back and says, yes, this will work indeed. I can give you this for a seeker. You are the ones who passed the trial. Well, I couldn't turn down helping someone who has just passed. Why don't I give you a first-timer's discount of 12 gold pieces? Yes?
I can pull in on that. Does anyone else have some gold they can pitch in for this?
I'm like standing there, like trying to like stomp on Gormak's shoulder. I have some in my bag.
Gormak nods and like holds up a little pouch that has 15 gold of yours in it.
All right. Yeah, I'll go halfsies with Emily on this, so we'll both pitch in 6.
Perfect.
I'll pitch in 4 as well.
Okay, so 4 apiece.
4 apiece. All right, you count out the golden coins, and the merchant happily puts them together. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 5. Oh, perfect! It is all here. Oh well, enjoy your cart. If you ever need anything, just ask for me. I would be happy to help you out.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
As we're leaving, I turn to the group. He's creepy.
I heard that.
I think before Tom leaves, he kind of says, "Is the beard natural? Is it?" I didn't. I mean, I don't mean to be rude. I'm not trying to impose. It's just I didn't realize you could grow a beard with scales. That seems a little.
This is 100 years of growth. It's quite crazy. Hi. Yes.
You learn something new every day.
Oh, yes. We are not dwarves, but we dragons can get a little fur.
Well, have a good night.
But what if we want to see that guy again? What was his name again?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you want to know my name? Oh,
yes.
Well, yes. I am a mercer. I am Xantha Mercer.
Oh, you're. Oh well, actually.
Xantha.
Actually, in that case, Mr. Mercer, I have a few more questions for you.
Oh yes, of course. I will gladly help the seekers.
I believe his name was Horsedog Mercer. Do you happen to know anything about him?
Oh, I know Horsedog. Yes, he is a traveling mercer. I like him a great deal. He has all kinds of doodads and trinkets and fun things. I have to sell him wagons all the time with special compartments. I charge him exorbitant fees.
Well, so Horsedog recently went missing. It's actually part of our first job is to find out what happened to him.
Well, oh, yes.
He went missing somewhere near a place called Willard's Mill. Does he frequent that area?
Oh, yes. There's you see the small towns outside of Sarmanath, they can largely, feed themselves, clothe themselves, but the goods and services from other towns need to be distributed. The mercers provide traveling merchants who can do just that, buy and sell goods from the city, from other towns, distribute them. It's common. Horsedog is an excellent traveling mercer.
I see. What kind of goods does he usually carry? We're trying to find him or his supplies.
He's a doodad man. He's got trinkets and baubles and glitters and golds. It's his favorite things. But he'll have everything else that you can imagine. Grains and wheats and rope and clothes. These things are bought and sold between the towns. Whatever he had from the previous few towns, plus whatever came from the city. Oh, but the mercers do like their spices. They're very expensive. We have to import them from over the sea. You see. Yes.
Do you have any samples I could use to test? Because if I can find, we are trying to find him or his goods, but any sort of clue I could use to know when we found something of his would be useful.
Oh, something of his. Well, Horsedog does have the mercer mark on all his goods. If he's the only mercer in town, you'll see it.
Could you show it to me?
He points to the sign on his building. It's right there. And there's the sign on his building is a wagon, like a cart being pulled by mules, but above it is the Mercer's Guild symbol, and is these balanced scales with gold pieces on them or coins on them.
Okay. Also, could you do you have any of those spices on you? I might be interested in some of those.
No, I am a wagon mercer.
I
specialize in carts and hitches and pulleys and wagons and occasionally briddles, and I don't do spices. Don't have the taste for it, you see. Too much fire breathing back in my heyday.
I told you he was weird.
I heard that. We have very good hearing. Don't insult me. I gave you a special deal.
We appreciate the deal. Anyways, have a good night, and thank you for the information. We'll I'm sure we'll be doing business again in the future.
Oh, excellent. Just ask for Xantha. Xantha. I forgot my own name.
Have a good night. I'm just gonna end the conversation. All right, so we have a cart now.
Yes.
All right, so I guess we'll start buying up some rations here. They're 5 silver pieces a day.
They are indeed, and you will find just there's a whole merchant square to Sarmanath, the large central block of the city. There are gargoyles and statues that kind of roam around and peddle to kids, but the merchants themselves are largely closed for the feast. But there are a few scragglers here and there, and you'll find stalls with the mercer symbol over them that trade in whatever dried meats and rations you need. They'll be by the book prices.
Sure. How far is the journey to Willard's Mill?
It is 28 miles to the northeast of Sarmanath. And
okay.
You would find that out by talking to somebody about it, probably.
Yeah, and I assume we have access to the basic map as well, right?
You have access, yes. So the map here, we will show it on stream for people. The map here is the basic map of the world, and it is largely as this. The people who make maps do not make region-specific adjustments to it very often. They make smaller regional maps occasionally if you find a really good cartographer, but most people in the region only want these big details. And the path to Willard's Mill is just kind of something that you would read on road signs as you followed the old road and the trails that lead off of it, or just from knowledge of having traveled there before.
Okay. So 28 miles is about what, like 2 days of travel?
About over here. You can travel 24 miles a day by foot. You are having someone carry a cart, so maybe a little bit less than that. But that's assuming clean roads, smooth travel conditions, all that stuff. Nothing that's considered difficult terrain.
Sure. So considering Willard's Mill might be in a bit of a poor state, we might not have rations aplenty once we get there. Should we stock up and go for about 10 days? 10 days worth of rations if we're expecting about a day to 2 days of travel.
Yeah, 10 works for me.
Okay.
I use a quarter of a ration per day because I'm literally. And
I will say that you can have half rations
Half rations. Okay.
because you are a tiny pixie.
The small creatures though have to eat more because their metabolism is so fast. You know?
I just have to eat high sugar content.
Multiple times your body weight per day to keep your metabolism.
I'm imagining Emily as she's just flying along with the party, like munching on a sugar cube. Just like a sugar cube. Like, this is so good.
All right, I see a volunteer myself for the car. We're getting into fro territory really quick here. So we have 4.5 person days of rations per day, which is 9 pounds of rations a day. So it's 2.5 silver pieces. Oh, this is great. I get to do math.
Yeah, I'm so glad you.
I would
Too early in the
I would
morning.
just recommend
With
you
like a
buy and
blackberry
keep track
just
of your
taking
own
each
food.
individual like nodule off of the blackberry and just eating those. Like,
Yeah, we could just do everyone does their own food. I was
would
just gonna
just
buy
say
it in
keep
bulk so
track
we
of
could all
your
put
own
it on the
food.
cart, but up
Sure,
to you
buy
guys.
it in bulk if you want.
Well, it's mostly because if I carry anything else, I will become lightly encumbered. So part of the goal with the cart was that I wouldn't have to carry more things.
I would say just individually buy the food you want and assume it's put
yeah,
on the cart.
works for me.
Right? Let's save some time there.
Okay.
All right. So you have purchased a cart. You've made a merchant friend. You've gotten some instructions for yourselves. Anything else you want to take care of today, or are we advancing on?
I am good.
All right. So you all sleep for the night. What is the plan? When are you leaving? What are you doing?
I'm giddy when everybody else is up, so
Yeah.
I only have to meditate for 4 hours.
I think
So-
Tom.
You go.
Oh yeah, I think Tom's a pretty early riser. Years of doing work as a cleric in the temple has kind of gotten him used to the idea of being like early to bed, early to rise. So I think like as soon as dawn breaks, he's probably ready to go, and he's just waiting for the rest to wake up.
Okay. All right. So are we all meeting at the town gates together? You guys have just met each other, right? Really?
Well,
I mean, some
so are
of
we
you
staying
have
at like the
probably met.
seeker? I assume there was like a seeker's quarters thing or something like
There
that,
is,
right?
yes. Is
Yeah,
is
so
that's where you're
he's
all
probably
staying?
waiting like the seeker's barracks courtyard or whatever, and just kind of waiting for everyone else to wake up.
Perfect. Yeah. So you are at the seeker's courtyard. You all, I guess, meet together. You have a cart. You have horses. You ready to just head out?
Yeah.
All right. The 5 of you leave town early in the morning.
But as we're hitting the gates, Tom says, "Okay, anything before we get too far afield here? Are we missing anything? Does anyone have anything they desperately want to take with us?" No. All right, we're good. Let's go.
All right. The 5 of you leave town. The immediate surroundings outside of Sarmanath, you know, as is a walled city, there are lots of like shanties and sprawling people to just live within like the first 5 miles of the city, and you make your way through there, and they begin to pass on by. The road is kind of crowded, coming and going through these first few. These first few miles as they're just kind of a sprawl of the city. As that passes you by, you take the old road and the crisp kind of fall air around you. Rolling hills of grass and a few spotted trees and rocks kind of surround you. Occasionally forks in the path will come with the crossroads being places to place bounties, and you begin heading northwest along the trails. Each crossroad that leads off from the old road has, you know, sign markers so you can know where you're going to go. As you're traveling along, what are you guys doing?
I'm pulling the cart, right?
Yeah, yeah, Gormak, you're just hauling this cart on your back. There's actually a nice little hitching, and Xantha was nice enough to roll some padded silk between the leather and your shoulders to try to prevent any unnecessary chafing on you. But yes, this is exhausting work for you to pull this cart along.
Okay. That's what Gormak's doing. He's pulling the cart. There's people on horseback too. You said we had horses.
People on horseback coming and going, right?
Oh,
you,
okay.
You can have horses if you want to go get them.
Okay. I thought you said as we were leaving town that we had horses, and I
might have. I'm a descriptive person.
Everybody has a horse.
Everybody
and
has
you-
horses.
If you don't have horses
horses.
on your character sheet, you don't have it.
Tom, I think Tom's just kind of daydreaming a little. He has like a vision of this becoming like a proper caravan with like a carriage that they pull around wherever they go. And he's like right now he's thinking small and thinking about like an upgrade path, and he's thinking like, okay, we'll get an oxen next time so that we can spare Gormac the trouble.
He probably at one point he probably sits on the cart like just while he's daydreaming about it, and Gormac like stops and turns and looks at him and like, oh, and like jumps off of the cart as he realizes he's making it heavier.
So at some point, I would like to tug on Janla's clothing to like draw his attention towards me.
Yeah, I look at her.
And she has like, you see her, and she has this little book that she has since that evening, right? She has it open, she looks at it, and she looks at you, and she looks back at the book, and she looks back at you, and she says, Professor Gendler? Could you explain to me what a horse dog is?
At first, I was a little confused as well. I think that's just his name.
Well, that's two animals, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that an insult? Because I've read last night that sometimes humans insult each other by using animal names, and that is something you should avoid.
Is this a conversation we can all hear, or
You can hear.
Okay.
Like, she speaks quietly, right?
Yeah.
She's not a very loud person, but you could absolutely hear that.
Gormac probably says something like horse dog, dog for horses, like sheepdog, and looks at Emily like looking for like, right? Like this is just what he's
Yeah.
assuming.
Yeah,
Like-
like I'm sitting on his shoulder playing the harp.
Yeah,
Yeah, that sounds right.
yeah.
I would assume
Yeah.
it's a horse dog would be a dog for horses. Like that makes sense.
And he sells decorations, right? Like baubles? That's what he does.
A little bit of everything, apparently. Fine eye for glittering trinkets was what I heard. So probably a little bit of jewelry mixed in.
Well, I shall keep my eyes open, and I will let you know when I see a dog.
Thank you.
Very proud of myself. I close my book and I keep on walking.
All right. So as your kind of awkward conversations continue, the fall air is cool and largely silent, but you do hear the sounds of nature, birds, and occasional animal calls. But as the afternoon midday sun comes full high, all of you kind of begin to feel like a rumbling in the ground as you're walking along, especially those of you who are not pulling a giant cart behind you.
Yeah, Gormac
maybe-
feels it and just
Yeah.
kind of assumes it's the cart just kind of rumbling the ground and just kind of keeps walking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get this sense that the ground is quaking.
It's
a
like
little.
shaking.
Yes.
So yeah, I think Tom like runs up and stops Gormac, and says, "Earthquake."
Gormac like looks down. Maybe.
And I think we kind of have this moment of
Has
sort
it
of waiting around to
where
see
he
what
looks at the
happens.
Cart and
All right.
realizes that it's not moving anymore, and like looks at the ground again, like.
I feel like when you're in an earthquake, your usual reaction is to like see what's going on with the earthquake until the
Yeah.
earthquake is no longer
Yeah.
an earthquake.
It sounds like you're stopping and looking around. So I want
trying to-
everyone to make perception checks for me.
All right.
I keep forgetting I'm not rolling real dice. So unnatural.
Perception wisdom. I think we'll just go with the basic perception test.
Boom.
Gormac, I think you're just really concerned about the cart for some reason.
What's my
No,
Oh,
I'm
that's
not. I told you
Tom.
roll the
That's
five.
Tom.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
sorry.
I actually got a 14.
Oh yeah, nice, nice.
I've got +1 to perception.
All right.
So I
So
have my perception on my character sheet. I should find out.
So Janlar and Rose, and Gormak. All of you are, as you're looking around, you realize that the rumbling seems to be coming from just off to your right. And as you look over, you see and are able to react as this giant creature comes busting out of the right side towards you and the cart. You see this giant mammoth looking creature with 6 legs and long flowing hair, wild crazy tusks, and it is charging full bore at you, larger than any like oxen or bison that you've ever seen before. And I think that is where we will take our first break, and we will come back and catch the resolution of that on the other side. We will see you in like 5 minutes, chat.